I did 2 live shows today and I did not record either of them.
Oh no.
They were on YouTube. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing. It's all, you know, what it is. And since we're still up on YouTube, which I don't see why we wouldn't be, I'm not even that into it all. I'm not even on the radar, but I'm like, I'm kind of having fun with it. Everybody's like hating Facebook and hate, or what did you call it, Denby? Fake book?
Fake, there's fake crook, face crack, and fake book, yeah.
F book.
Basically, yeah.
It's so much fun.
Are we live now?
It's working. Yes, we're live. Yay. Hi, everybody. There's 3 people already here. Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, guys.
Here we are. Hi, friends. I want to, just say how excited I am to be in the presence of these 3 beautiful, beautiful women. And already, I'm already enlightened. Like just being with you guys, I already feel excited and activated and ready for a great conversation. And, you know, it all happened very organically, didn't it? For all of us, like we're just going with the flow on this, and that couldn't be any more yogic. We're just going with the flow. We're going with the easiest flow that resonates with us and resonate with other people. We're going to talk about all that as we continue into the show. But what I just downloaded just now, I laid down with my kids and I was like, you know, just before I get into like who all of these amazing people are and all of that, I just want to let you know that like, even if this conversation is upsetting to anybody, just know that unity consciousness doesn't care. Let's say this. Here's why. We're there. We're in that space. And there's nothing that can really mess with you too much in that space. It doesn't mean to hurt anybody. But what happens if everybody, what we're trying to get everybody to do is listen to their own voice for God within. Because if everybody did that, we would all be getting along. Because God is love. And so we wouldn't have any problems. I don't think we would all say the same things, look the same, talk the same, even believe the same things. But it wouldn't matter because it wouldn't be evil. Because it would be God. Does that make sense? It would just be love. And I don't know, I just got it. So I'm still kind of like trying to process it out. But the message of yoga, at least in my understanding, we love that word now in 2021 as well. In my understanding is that you're tuned in to the voice for God within. And you listen and you live your life from that place. And you're not really concerned with the world as much as everybody else is. Because it's like Martin Luther King said, you've already seen the promised land. You already know bliss, like you already know samadhi. You might not know it permanently, but you've had too many moments of it. Too many extended time frames, you know, days of it, weeks of it, you know, moments. It doesn't matter the time frame, but you know it. You know it, and you know that it's real. And so that's kind of, you know, what I wanted to.
I think we've got a little freeze.
Yeah, I thought that was just me. So did we lose Marie? Did you also lose Marie?
Say I love you all so much. Marie, and I think for the circle, if we.
There she is.
Marie, you seem to be going on and off with your connection, but I think you're back. Hello. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to mute me before I speak. I think Marie's frozen again, huh?
Mexico moment.
Well, I'll jump in, Marie. Hopefully my internet's okay for everyone. But just to expand on that, yes, 5D Earth is original Earth, our original home here on this beautiful Gaia plane, this realm of consciousness is a frequency of absolute love, joy and peace. That is the true self. So Marie's absolutely correct. And those of us who have risen to that place are now residing in that 5D frequency. And we are witnessing, we are observing, rather than getting dragged down into the vortex of the third dimension. Now, there's nothing wrong with the third dimension. We've all been there. We're all some point on the continuum of consciousness. It's all perfect experience, all perfect geometry in this holographic reality. So there's never right or wrong. There's only the experience of what is. But it's a choice that we all have within us to choose to dwell in that frequency of unconditional love. And of course, it has to start within yourself first. You have to fill your own cup first until your cup runneth over. This is why we're hearing so much, again, the beautiful biblical stories. I wasn't even raised with the Bible, and yet it resonates so strongly within me, many of these beautiful scriptures. And of course, we're yogis, so we've gone through our philosophy with yamas and niyamas and so many other beautiful traditions that have weaved into yoga now with Buddhism. And so we understand that it is a choice that we make to love ourselves, and therefore what we give ourselves, we can give to others. But it all must start from within, and we are the microcosm to the macrocosm. When we find darkness outside of ourselves, we have to go in and heal those wounds within. And us four ladies, I mean, we've been copping the trolls. I think it's revved up another level for me this last week. I don't know if you girls can speak to that as well. So I'll hand it over. I'm getting feedback now.
I'll go. Can you hear me? All good? Yep. Okay. Hopefully, well, we can see your beautiful picture, Marie, but hopefully you can hear us as well. She's popping in and out. That was me last time. Remember, my Wi-Fi was all sketchy and all over the place. I'm in my house now just to try and avoid detection or being unplugged. It's interesting that so much has. I just find. I mean, I've been doing this work like you guys for so long, and yet it's there she is. Hey, how incredibly instantaneous manifestation is now, but also just how energy can shift just from one end of the pendulum to the next within like even just an hour through, or you can have so many different spikes of energy and consciousness in the course of 24 hours. And I had a day like that yesterday. So today I'm kind of like, you know what, I've just got this, I've ramped up my sense of humor and my ability to just go, meh, whatever, because it started off yesterday taking my son to the osteopath, and the car in front of us, it was a big tray back, like a real, really serious tray back ute with tyres that were probably about as tall as me, and it was just hardcore. And plastered on the back of the ute, where it would have had Ford, but it just had this picture. It was a spray painted image of the devil, of Satan, like full on detailed, spray paint, like you'd see in like a really hardcore heavy metal music clip or something like that, like Satan's face, and just on the back of this car looking at us. And we just sat there and just looked at it. And then you know what the number plate was? Evil, EVIIL. So we're driving along and we've got Satan and a number plate saying evil. And it was in green, and like it was written in this really revolting lime green text, like the I don't even know how it got approved by the RTA, the Roads and Transport Authority, but it started off like that. And we were just laughing. And there was a few other instances. We saw a Kentucky Fried Chicken ad with a picture of, its bucket full of deep fried dead chicken. And then the quote next to it was like, we can do this together. Like one of those things of like, we're all in this together. So, now we've got fast food chains, which we know are horrendous, saying we can do this together, insinuating that as long as you eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, you're going to be okay through the shit show that's happening. So I had one of those days where I was just going, I really have to practice more compassion and more understanding and more patience, but also at the same time, I've pretty much just reached the edge of my limitation for stupidity and ignorance and an unwillingness to expand oneself out of their comfort zone. It's just, we're getting to the point now, in fact, I think we've passed it, where it's okay to just, and safe to just stay in that little restricted perspective anymore, because the circus has come to town and it's left a whopping great trail of destruction behind it. And everyone's sort of still going, oh, what was that? Let's go back to normal. I don't know. That's where I'm at today. Just whatever.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hi. Hello, Marie. Welcome back. I totally am with you all with like reaching the maximum yogic limit of holding love and light. I was way past that already, like months ago. But I think for me, because like since November 3rd, we're basically running on extra time, right? It's like a football match. We didn't sign up for this extra time. we were meant to have held the victory on the 3rd of November. So every day since then is just like an extra. We're being asked to put on a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and of course every day we come. We reach the, we come across the wall and we feel like, oh my God, I can't go on anymore. But thankfully we have our tools, we have our kit that we can just, dip in and out of, and we're able to recalibrate ourselves so we can get back out onto the battlefield. And the three of you, I have nothing but respect. And the likes of our sister Alpa Soni, who just, I'm connected with her like really almost every day we talk, and I know the intensity of the energy that she's also having to battle and wade through. And like I said, I think, of course, we have our practice, we have the years of our nervous system, our everything in our system having been recalibrated to where it is right now. That's why we're able to withstand it. But of course, none of this can be possible without the God energy. And I firmly believe that that's what's fueling us in these days, that God energy, that we're still able to see the humor in it. My God, I haven't laughed as much. I really laugh out loud. I lol every single day, every hour, because there's just too much humor. And I just feel so blessed that I'm able to see the humor in it, because my God, imagine without it, how are we going to progress? So yeah.
That's a
Trump
beautiful point.
supporters are just generally, to me, holding the higher frequency.
Yeah, and we absolutely need our humor, don't we? We need our humor. We need our meditation. Denby, you wrote a post earlier. We need nature. Marie, there she's back. I went for a big bushwalk yesterday, and it just recalibrates your energy. I'm really curious though what we've set out to accomplish here from a very high galactic perspective. When we were in the monadic energy and we dreamt up this third dimension, we obviously wanted to make it very challenging on ourselves before we broke through into the golden age. But of course, if you look at any epic story, look at the Mahabharata, look at any of these traditional and beautiful stories, there's going to be the classical battle between good versus evil. And that's what we chose. That's what we're here for. So we can't allow that to fall in our lap. We've just got to keep holding the line and charging through and using all our spiritual tools, because that's why we've practiced, all these ladies here have practiced for 20 odd years. That's why, because now is our time. We've got a toolkit behind us to dive into.
And what did we
need
expect it was going to look like? I mean, what did we really expect Ascension was going to look like? Like, it was just going to literally be suddenly wake up one morning and there was rainbows and unicorns and all this laughing meerkats and whatever. It's like, we have to go. That's the healing process, as you guys know, to go through the darkness and be birthed through that, all those contractions and all the murk. And yeah, it's just it's astounding to see. Amazing and astounding, and it's the whole kaleidoscope of emotions, obviously, as you guys know, to be in that. And I've just made a mental note to myself, like, next lifetime when they put the roll call out, with the loud howl and go, volunteers for Earth, I'm going to be out the back having a smoke or picking my nose or something like that, because I'll be like, no way, man, I've done that. But it's all unfolding as it's meant to. I know it's all perfect. But yeah, You can't lose your sense of humor. That's one thing. Another thing they can't take from us. They can't take our sense of humor, and they can't take our spirit. So
that's so funny, Gen V. I've got a male friend who said he was drunk in a bar on Orion. He knows he's from Orion. He said, I was drunk in a bar. You know, they came in and made me sign this contract, and I woke up the next morning hazy. I'm like, what? I'm going back to Earth? What? That didn't happen, did it? You gotta have these jokes. It gets you by.
I don't know about you ladies, but I really feel like I'm in 5D.
You are.
Seriously.
I've seen where you live.
No, I know.
Well
no,
manifested.
But mentally, and spiritually, emotionally, it just feels like there's been a shift. I don't know exactly when it happened. Maybe it happened on the 21st of December, but yeah, it's like there's a huge difference in how I'm interacting, how I'm able to really respond. You know, like even as I listen to myself talking, I'm like, am I really saying this? Like, where's this coming from? You know, it's like the Holy Spirit. So yeah.
I do believe that it happened on the 21st of December. I felt it so strongly, and I know I'm different, almost like I'm forming a new body. It's powerful. Yeah.
And Marie, your whole, I mean, yeah, I totally agree, and Madonna for sure, but Marie's and all your energies have changed as well, but there's something very different you can see on Marie, like your frequency is very, we've all upgraded, but yours is just glowing. So what's going on with you, my darling?
Here's what I saw. I was going up, right? I was in the dungeons, and I don't know how long I've been doing it, perhaps forever. And every time I would take a step, I would turn to the right and turn to the left and elbow. And there was a lot of fighting along the way. And then I had this flash where all of a sudden I stopped looking to the right and I stopped looking to the left, and I took a big inhale and I brought my hands together and I just started going up an elevator. It was like, I just felt like I'm just going straight, like, and it honestly, sweet sisters, I'm telling you, it's not always this way, but it is a lot of the time. And I'm like, miracles are occurring. I'm looking around. Everything is falling apart, but I don't care because I already been to the promised land. Like I keep like going like, but this is not real. It's just falling. It's just falling. And what's happening is this diet thing is fucking blowing my mind, sisters. The refinement of it is exceptional. I mean, it's like what you were saying, you know, the clarity, like, I'm like, wow, I can barely use words anymore. I have to really like try and talk sometimes, you know.
Telepathic communication.
It felt, yeah, I don't know. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for seeing that in me. I feel really grateful. I've been waiting for this. I've been practicing for this. I didn't know what it was. I don't even have all the lingo right. I don't even know what's going on with half of it, but I knew that I wanted peace. And I remember being a child, guys. I had this flash the other day of like, one of the things that always upset me as a child and still as an adult, and even 2 weeks ago and yesterday probably, was that I'm misunderstood. That there are still humans that misunderstand me, and that like bothers me. It used to like really bum me out as a kid because it was like I was perceived as somehow evil or bad, and I knew myself not that way. I knew my innocence. Like I know I'm good, just like we all do. We know that we're born good and pure and just love. That's what we are. And I remember thinking, like, I was learning about heaven and hell and all this stuff through a church perspective, but at some point I remember saying, in heaven, everyone's going to know the truth.
Wow.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like in heaven, we're all going to know the truth. And I had this show today with Charlie Freak, and it was like, he had said something and this and that. And I just really felt like the download was, I'm not even involved anymore in the story of it. I got through it, as we all did. Like Trump was a trump card. That's all.
Yeah.
He was a trump card. He was a portal. He's a rite of passage. If you can see the light in him through all of this crazy ass stuff going on. I mean, I just met these two people that just got here from New York, older couple, and they come down every winter, and we ran into them in the street. And I hope they never watch this. I love you people so much, but they looked horrendous. Like, they looked terrible, you guys. And I don't mean this as a judgment. I meant like, Christ, like, have you had any water? Like, you know, but they didn't realize that. I saw them that way. They were all like going out for wine and steak, and they were going out to dinner, and he's smoking a cigarette, and they're sick people. Like, they're sick. And it was sad. And she says to me, well, did you hear about what happened with Trump? Even his best friend so-and-so doesn't like him anymore. And I just kind of looked at her like, you know, she kind of looked at me like, why are you smiling, and like googly-eyed at me? And I was just like, I love Trump. She was like,
What,
as I do, you know, I'm the media.
what did they say? How did they take that?
Well, she just kind of looked at me and like that, like because everybody thinks like, if you're still in those monologues, like you really think that's how you connect with people, is in hate for someone. I was like, I've read his stuff. He's a good dude. The media made him, you know, a terrible guy, but that's not my interpretation. I just kept smiling at her, and she kind of like changed the subject really quick because my kids were there and she didn't want to have an issue. But the bottom line is that people are sick, like, and they're afraid of death. And you don't even realize that your ego has to die. Like, you have to stop living the way that you're living because you're dying already. And that's death. That's why you're afraid of it. Like, but people, you know, I had a client today, and it was like, I can't stop, you know, eating sugar. And it was like, what is it doing to your body, you know? And do you love yourself enough to start trusting the divine in you? Can you hear the voice for God within you? And I think that that's what happened. I just really started to listen to the God within, and everything slowed down, because when you focus on food, from my perspective, you have to slow down, because so much of the time we're just doing it. It's just habit. It's like, I just wake up, I drink this, I just do this. But you slow down so much that it actually allowed me to see who was wanting what. And is my body in charge of my mind? And I am an idea in the mind of God. And most of the ideas that I have when left to my own devices are not good for me. They're not. They're trying to keep me down in density. And if I can stay, and I get big waves of like 4 or 6 days just juice, you know, and then I eat a salad or whatever. But the lighter I get, the more frequency I get, just the more I'm in tune with it. And I don't want anything that will take me down, including too much information, including too much involvement in the story right now. Because the story is taking so many crazy ass twists and turns, I can't keep up with it. And it's not about that right now. I trust the plan 100%. And I had to kind of do that. Even though I never was in it 100, I just had to like that. And then I got back in the elevator and, you know, up
And went out.
I mean, the plan keeps recalibrating because it's only a response to the frequency that the collective on the planet is holding. And I hope that people can remember that. We are the creative beings. It's not outside of us. We're within it. It is us. We are within magic. So we create the narrative as we go forward. And that's why even those within the inner circle are telling us, it keeps recalibrating the plan, even though the ultimate plan from God's plan is God, you know, God always wins. The spiritual timeline never, ever runs out. It can't, it doesn't exist. Technocratic timelines, these sorts of things run out, yes, but they'll have their day until, you know, we're seeing the death gurgle of it now, and the censorship is rife. I want to speak to those beautiful people who are going for the steak and wine and puffing on the ciggies. I had a panic attack a few nights ago, and I'm mentally very stable and emotionally. I mean, I've got a lot of water in my astrological chart, so I do experience emotion more so as my radar of how to read things. But this really impacted me mentally, and I felt so unsteady and almost like there were demons attacking me on a psychic level, and I guess that's what was happening. But it really gave me pause, and it gave me insight and compassion for the people who are engulfed in fear all of the time, because I think my compassion had just about run out. And I am a compassionate person by nature, but I needed to stop making excuses for people. I needed for people to become accountable for their actions. And as I said before, because we're all getting trolled, there's only so much of that you're going to take before you're putting, the fence up around you and you're saying, get back. So then the gate had to open and say, oh, Carrie, don't forget compassion. Don't forget to hold space for these people, because as I was experiencing that panic and that fear, I had insight into what so many people are going through, and it's not pleasant. It's not fun. I'm so now I'm finding that balance between not making excuses, but again, holding space for the people who are being fed. They're like on an IV drip, of mainstream media. And as we all know, you got to pull that drip out. You got to flick that and get out of the hospital bed and get the hell out of there, because these Illuminati characters, these dark controllers, are keeping you sick. They want you sick. That's how they control you.
Totally.
It's interesting finding that balance point.
I love that point, Marie, about about the food, because and Carrie, because you're into TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, which I think you guys might be also as well. But when you say that, it's not just how we feed ourselves with stuff we put in our mouths, it's how we feed ourselves emotionally, and the environment, of course, and with relationships and the emotions that we keep feeding or rehashing as well. And it's fascinating, because the stomach is the organ, obviously, where our food goes into, but in traditional Chinese medicine, that's connected to, guess what? Awareness. And I've been trying to use the word awareness instead of being awake, because when you're aware, you can start to see what's going on around you, and then that leads you down that path of understanding, or understanding rather. So yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because food has been manipulated to the eyeballs for so many people. And I'm not saying if you want to eat meat, that's totally fine. If you want to be vegan, vegetarian, excuse me, whatever, that's all fine. But look for the quality and look for the source of where your food is coming from, and do it with make sure that if you are eating meat, then it's sustainably sourced and it's killed humanely and all those sorts of things. But that hasn't been the case with commercial food places, especially fast food, obviously, like Kentucky Fried Chicken I mentioned before. So people have been feeding on all this garbage on several levels for so long. So it's really hard for them to get off that cycle, which again is the earth element, and the stomach and the spleen. The spleen relates to sugar. And of course, the three killers I believe in the world are stress, sugar, and stupidity. And it just keeps people going around, round, round in that cycle of not knowing how to get off that. As you say, Carrie, like at some point they've got to rip out that drip and get out of the hospital, but most people don't even realise they've got a drip in the first place. Yeah. Poor darlings.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to have compassion for sure.
That's what it is, though. It's like, it's the old world dying. Like the old ways of all of it are dying. And I think that, yes, it's hard and it's difficult, but from where I'm at, like in terms of, I just am done. Like I'm going, I'm already there. And this is how I did it. And I don't know if it's the only way. I really don't. I think there's probably 100 million. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but this is what worked for me. And I think that that's what I'd like to share with people, that, yes, it matters. All of the things matter, but for some reason, really backing off the industry of food, the culture of food, the emotion of food, restaurants, the whole thing. And I went to a restaurant tonight. I had juice and a salad. So it's not that you just have to totally unplug, but just that process for me was very healing. And it showed me where so many more of my deeper, darker attachments have been. And my need to hide from fear, and how difficult it is. So it is very difficult to face your fears, but the only thing more powerful than the fears is the love. And it's just trusting that you're going to move through that. It's a moment in time. It's a moment in time. And can I extract the lesson so I don't have to do this again? And that's what's been pissing me off all these years. I just kept doing the same thing over and over again. And I kept finding myself in the same place. But for me, somehow food was a key out. And as everything was falling, I felt okay with that. on many levels it was very difficult, but because I knew that spiritually I was detaching from deeper levels of Babylon, you know, and what it's supposed to be like. Can I survive this way? And I'm telling you, wow, if I watch my son who's 4, he's all he wants is juice and bananas. Like we tried tonight. I tried, here's some rice and veggies. You won't eat it. Like Mommy, I don't want that. Can I have another juice? It's like, all right, you know, like, so I'm just, and he's like an angel. I swear to you, my 4-year-old, when you see him, you're just, I look at him like, oh my God, I cannot believe I get to be your mother. Like, who are you? He's like a dolphin. He is so bright. And these children, this is what got me going too, was him, and thinking, just for a second, if anyone was to harm him, that brought up a level of rage inside me that I did not know existed. And that's what got me, you know, out of my own deep sleep. You know, the Course of Miracles teaches that we, in the beginning, we fell asleep and we haven't woken up yet. There has yet to be a great awakening, and this is it. So like I started hashtagging the Great Awakening. My yoga friends started freaking out. I was like, dude, we've been talking about this. This is what this is. You're in a bad dream. And if your friends are having a bad dream, if you're sleeping with somebody and they're having a bad dream, aren't you going to wake them up? They're like tossing and turning. You're like, hey, dude, wake up, wake up. And they're going to go, oh, phew, that was just a bad dream. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
We're just trying to wake you up. Like it doesn't mean to offend you or upset you. And we don't think we're better than you. We just think we know exactly where you are because we were just there 7 seconds ago. You know what I mean? Like we know the evil. We know it.
But
Go ahead, Madame.
unfortunately, though, just to pivot from what you said about people being woken up, there are some people, when you wake them up, they get really pissed off. Like they react really unpleasantly, and that has been, in my experience, that has been the case. People don't like to be woken up because it's a rude awakening, right? It's not pleasant. I didn't like it when it happened to me. I was just sharing this earlier with a bunch of other women because they were interested in how it was for me. And I was like, I really hated it. Because I think I shared with you that when the awakening happened, not the awakening of into spirituality, but the awakening of what's really going on, right? The 2020 awakening. It happened to me when I felt like I've lost everything already. Right. So it couldn't have come at a worse time. But then again, in hindsight, I'm like, it couldn't have come at a better time because that's when I was like, there was nothing left, I've nothing left. So yeah, that was the time that God deemed my awakening to take place. So I just find that at this point, I think I've done my bit for the whole of 2020. I've lost whoever I needed to lose. I've gained who I needed to gain. At this point, I mean, like what? We're 6 days away, right? 5 days away from the great awakening day. Hopefully, hopefully many would rise up to it. I'm just in the state of trust right now, and I'm like, on a daily basis, please have me do what I'm supposed to do today. And on the days when I can't be bothered, I self-love. I take the day off. I really embrace the place where I'm at. I've been blessed to be at, recalibrate and then come back again. So these days, it's just a matter of really being good to me. Whoever wants to come along the journey with me, come along. But to those who are there to give me grief and to make me feel bad about myself, it's just a simple matter of blocking now. I don't have to explain myself to anyone anymore. I'm just here to do God's work. And that's God's work for me. Just, being cool, being happy, being in that frequency of love 24/7.
Beautiful. Yeah, even the deity of Shiva reminds us of the cycle of birth and destruction. And what you're speaking to, Madonna, is just exquisite, because there's been a death that's gone on within a chapter of your life. And so it's reawoken you into such profound beauty and such exquisite potency, you know, like you couldn't be here without that death having occurred.
Yes.
And we need to speak to death. This is how they're dangling the fear carrot with the COVID narrative, that it's always, oh, save lives. But actually, death has always been around since the year dot. Death is not a new phenomenon. It's almost like they're selling death as a new phenomenon. It's not. It's always been around, and there's nothing wrong with death. And in fact, when we cross over, it's rainbows and colour and parades, and all your beautiful pets that have crossed over come to meet you, and all your grandparents and all your loved ones who have crossed over come to meet you. It's a profound release and relief. There is nothing wrong with death. It should be celebrated every moment of every hour. And the cycles within our life, the death of the cycles within our life must be celebrated as well. And I know this is why we're so incredibly pumped, because this great awakening means the death. See ya, Cabal. Thanks for dumbing us down. We obviously chose that on a collective level, but we're done, and onwards we go, because we're in 5D Earth. The ladies I'm sitting here with, the people who are listening to us, they're already in 5D Earth. We're spending some time seeing who's on the fence, maybe want to come on the 5D road with us, because perhaps, you know, we're running out of time. And even saying that's not true, there is no time. We're in a timeless realm. However, if we look at it from the third dimensional hologram, yes, we're running out of time. So get on the higher road, so to speak. That's a term the Australian, some of the Australian elders use. Get on the higher road, and let's do this together. That's why we say where we go one, we go all. We don't want to leave anyone behind, because that's what love does. Love takes everyone on that journey. So yeah, thank you for speaking to that, Madonna. And let's all embrace death. Let's not be fearful of death.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Carrie. I'd like to add on that, because as you say, it's death, transition, change, all the different expressions. Sorry, my dog's doing funny things. And like for all of us, when from the beginning of our awakening, when, you know, however many years, weeks, months, or whatever that was, we've been through our own process as well of different, you know, realizations and absorbing different levels of information and intensity, and having to integrate that and just, you know, have our little meltdowns and go, okay, right, and then the next thing comes and so forth. So everyone else is going through that same process. And I just find it really interesting as well, again, trying to keep the sense of humor around it, is that I don't know how you guys have been feeling, but the more empowered that I have felt, and the more that I've stepped into my mission, my purpose, my role, whatever, and how that's transitioned for me in certainly the last couple of years, but definitely through the situation. It's a positive thing that COVID has gifted me. It allowed me to come even more connected to my purpose through all the crazy. Is that when we step up into that space, we agitate and irritate or offend or trigger other people more, which is a good thing, because that is how I know I was, came into the space of knowing and wanting to learn more, was when I just got pissed off with someone said, or that it just sent me into a bit of a spiral that I had to go through, which was a necessary healing process. But as you guys know, I mean, this week I'm always dealing with, crazies and trolls and people saying a few things. I've managed to reduce that in the last couple of months, and I now just unfriend, unfollow, or block people if I need to, because I won't tolerate, as you said before, Maria, I'm not going to tolerate bullshit and rude people. I'm more than open to people expressing their opinions and sharing their perspectives and asking questions and being polite and being conscious, but I'm not going to sit there and have my page just be overrun by people who are attacking me and using that as a platform for their own unconscious dialogue. But it's interesting how that has, the stronger that I've felt, the more I have received others coming in and attacking. And it's almost like, they're virtue signaling, most definitely. And they've come in, and some friends who I wouldn't never have thought it would have done that, have just messaged me going, are you okay? Are you all right? Like coming in from that false sense of concern. And maybe they're coming from their perspective, honest concern, but it comes across as being really condescending. And it's like, because you are a woman, maybe also, standing in your power, and you're speaking your truth, and you're expressing and we talk about sacred rage. That's very different to just being an angry woman just going on a rant. Sacred rage, as you said before, Marie, it's that lioness when you have a child, like, wow, you come out, don't mess with me, you touch my child, I'll fucking take you down, no problem. It's that sort of energy, and that's the divine fierceness of the fierce feminine that's rising, and we need the masculine to come and meet that. But I don't see that. Maybe it's just me. I don't see that as coming across as being angry or judgmental or critical. It's just when you're speaking again with your truth from love, it's coming out like the grandmother and saying, no, this is not how you do things. You're out of line. I'm using my discernment and my experience and applying my wisdom to this situation. And yeah, I'm passionate because it's coming from the heart. So, what are you, I know, Madonna, you were saying something, you resonated with what I was mentioning the other day about my experience, but what are you guys feeling and receiving with that?
You want to go? Go for it. Or you want me to? Madonna.
You can go, Marie.
Well, thankfully, I had a situation with someone super close to me who I sometimes find myself speaking to when I'm talking in things like this. Do you ever do that? Like you're kind of speaking to the person who's like pushing your buttons right now. But it kind of got to a place where she just couldn't get it. But she got enough for now. And I think that's where I'm at with it. For the people, like, yes, the bigger and brighter you get, the more it does seem that initially, the people that sometimes the ones closest to you, like there was a video of Donald Trump talking about, like, I wish I could see what it would be like to lose it all, to see who would be loyal. And I thought that was so profound because that's what's kind of happening. It's like, the people that are saying anything that you are right, they're just afraid of your light. That's what darkness abhors light. It doesn't know, and they don't realize that that's where they're at. And that's part of what's hard for us. And so at this point for me, I'm just not even going there mentally, energetically, spiritually, or emotionally. And that's what I felt I needed to do, because it shakes I feel it on such an energetic, it comes into my heart space. Like the first thing that woman, when she said Trump's name, I thought there was this hopeful part of me that went, oh, she's going to be positive, like that. And then we're going to have this moment of like, because that's what happens with the people that you can actually break through, and you have like, I actually love Trump, and someone else says that, and then you're best friends for life. Like, who knew it would be that easy to make a friend worth having? And that's what I'm into right now. Like, I'm not interested anymore in conversations like to try and prove or defend or demonstrate. And I've heard compassion here, and I love that you guys are. I'm just like over it. I don't even want to be compassionate anymore. I already know. I already been to the promised land. I'm staying there. Don't mess with me. I want to stay there. If you want to come, you can come, but you have to go your own route. You have to do your own work. I did as much as I could for everybody else. And I think as service, oriented humans, like, we tend to overserve. Like, I'm losing my shit now because I'm trying so hard to prove that I'm worthy of love. Like, this is a core wound we have, that we believe that we're unlovable. This is a core belief. It runs our programs. There's a whole cognitive behavioral therapy thing on it. But like, the bottom line is that we need to accept that we're worthy and that we're loved. And anything else, like, I'm just not even responding. Like, someone wrote me about 107's movie, which is amazing. And if you haven't seen it, you guys, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It brings me so much peace. And this is the last thing I'll say before I give it back. But he said, and he's a Democrat, and we were friends in high school, and deep, like, we love each other, right? And he writes me, and he's, I saw your post on this movie, and I watched most of it. I liked all the scenes of the stage. Seems like there was a lot of inside jokes, and he's kind of obsessed with like the elite. Like, he tried to explain it to me, and he goes, but this could really upset a lot of people. And my first response was like, oh, I'm gonna write. And then I just sat with it, and I'm like, do you even realize, like, he needs to sit in the silence of what he just said. So I'm not supposed to say anything because it might hurt somebody's feelings. Like, is this the world we live in? Are we this immature? apparently they are. And it's not a judgment. It's just that's their operating system. I just don't operate that way anymore, and I don't want to convince I just don't even want to engage with it anymore. And I think that's what came through on the show today, because we're messengers. We're ministers of God. That's what yoga instructors are. Like it or leave, change the words. I don't care. That's what you are. You are administering. How do you say that word? Administering God conscious.
Administering. Yeah.
You're
We're
administrating.
administrators.
Yeah,
Admins.
of love. Exactly. Of breath, of consciousness. You are a messenger of love. That's what you are. You get the message. Can I hear the voice for God within me? You get the message. You receive the message, and then you share the message. You can't just, you have to receive it yourself. You can't just give it away. And that's what the yoga teachers have done. That's what we've all done. We haven't really received it. We haven't pulled it in. We haven't owned it. This is mine. This is my inheritance. I belong here. And everybody has to do that for themselves. And I don't even know.
So good.
I didn't even say
so
anything. I
good.
didn't even respond. Thank you. Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're an example of a woman who loves herself unconditionally, because you're not invested whether people like you, approve of you, consent with what you've done. That's why you say you've ridden the elevator, you've gone to the promised land. In that space, you're completely self-contained. You don't need any external influence to validate who you are. And so this is also speaks to where, I don't know if it's the majority, I mean, who knows what the percentages are, but I'll say it, where the majority of people are. They're still looking for validation outside of themselves. So they shut off their throat chakra. They just shut it down. They know what they feel in their heart, but they're more interested in running with the herd, because to be outside of the herd means that you could be under attack. It means that you're vulnerable. This is why nature shows us all these codes. But we are not animals. We are human beings who can rise in consciousness. Going back to what you were saying about food, that's why it's so important, because food it's either light codes or death codes. To me, it's one or the other. When you're ingesting fruit, which you are, Marie, in abundance, you are literally taking in light codes. You're literally taking in, through orange juice, liquid gold. This is why it works. It's one of the ways to create the neural pathways, the Kundalini pathways, to awaken, the light of God up here. This is what you're experiencing. So if people haven't gone on that journey yet, they need to listen to people like Marie, because she is telling you from direct experience. Once you get to that place, you're not invested in whether people are approving of what you post or not. You, as you said so beautifully, you're a messenger. So you're doing your job. You're fulfilling your holy mission.
That's the new sexy, ladies. That is
Absolutely
the new
sexy.
sexy. Can I
Yes.
just share something about my favorite Anon? I don't know if you know him, Martin Geddes. I posted it the other day. He's this English Anon, much loved by the American patriots, obviously, because he's such a patriot, even though he's not American. So he just drops gold nuggets, with his tweets. I so miss him because, I've been taken down on Twitter, along with, I think, about 70,000 Trump supporters and followers. Wow. So I'm having a bit of a Twitter withdrawal, and Martin Geddes withdrawal, because he's so woke. So anyway, he said, before he got taken down, he said, I managed to capture the screenshot. He says, if you find it any consolation, patriots not having a total breakdown because they took all the learning pain and inner spiritual work up front are gonna be the sexiest people alive by the end of the year. I'm assuming this is 2021. So chin up, future is good. Quote unquote, parenthesis, not that we aren't the sexiest already.
That's what I'm here for, Madonna. My secret's out. I just wanted to be sexy, so I can go now.
Yeah. It's everything about this being released from the matrix, being released from the mind control. It's just so sexy, like finally because that's what they've done all our lives. We've been this form of mind control, which is so evil, like everything about all their projections, everything about how we lived our lives are so Kabbalistic that when you finally unshackle and eject yourself out of it, and you go, oh my God, this is what it means to be human. This is what it means to be in mukti. This is it. This is what I've been born into this earth realm, in this incarnation, to experience. And we're just getting glimpses of it.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it on Denby's interview last time, and I'd like to do an interview with you all and really dive deeper into this subject matter. But, sexy is the word, because we're reclaiming our sacred, we might call it sexuality, because our sexuality has been depraved and perverted. And we're seeing how that plays out, how it's a bottomless pit of depravity with what's happening with the children and the adrenochrome, and, the list goes on. And it literally causes you to hurl. That's how dark it is. But we can't also shut that down, that life pulse, our original purpose. So we're finding a new way through it. So sexy is absolutely the word. And I believe the goddesses will lead the movement, and they'll show everyone what it truly is about and how it can be done. There's purity to erotica. Erotica might sound like it's not pure, but we're decoding this now. We're finding out how to use that erotic energy and use it in a way to rise up through the chakras, not to blow it out of the base chakra where it's become so destructive. So it's, it's part of the golden age.
This is quite advanced teaching, though.
Yes.
Go ahead, Andy.
Sorry, darling. Just saying sacred, what Carrie was saying, and you said as well, Madonna, is sacred sexuality. It's the reclamation of the divine feminine and the divine masculine in that sacred union of Shakti and Shiva, and how, as you say, Carrie, that's been inverted and totally sabotaged and destroyed for so long, and perverted in so many ways. And we're moving toward, this whole process is about spiritual adulthood. We're moving from spiritual adolescence to spiritual adulthood. And that's one of the major things, obviously, when you go through puberty and you're learning to discover, who you are and what your voice is and how your bits work and how they go with everybody else's bits and all those things. It makes sense, of course, if you wanted to, if you're an evil psychopath, that you would attack that area and that part of the psyche in the human, of course, to sabotage one's identity as masculine or feminine, and attack the family unit and bring in the whole transgender and gender neutrality and all that crap literally that comes with it. So that makes total sense that creative sexual essence and energy is being revitalized now through each one of us, reclaiming that for ourselves, and then rooting that down back into the earth, grounding that down, feeding from the mother, not from all the other bits and pieces around us that we have that can't nourish us in any way. It's an interesting process to witness and be a part of, that's for sure, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and it's important. I think it's the most important work of our lives. And I think that's why we all stepped up to bat, because it was like, okay, well, I'll figure out what the divine feminine looks like and feels like, and I'll see what she needs to express herself through this vessel, and I'll clear as much of my insanity as possible, and all of my perverted shit that I inherited from all of it. And it's so deep. It's so deep. Sexual, I mean, just, somebody, I was on with a comedian today, and he was like, I try and get people to come to my shows to, he's like, he uses comedy to wake people up, right? He's hilarious. So I'm glad that you were talking about, keeping our sense of humor down, because the Lord knows we need it. I mean, things get really crazy lately, but basically he was saying, Beyonce put something up and 7 bazillion people watch it, and all she's really doing is gyrating and doing weird stuff. And that vibration is upsetting to our divinity. I mean, it's not that the divine is necessarily offended, but it shrinks because it cannot exist within that vibration. And that's what we're pulling back up and out. We're pulling out the divine feminine and saying, you're the boss, you're free, you're safe here. I'm not going to pervert you. I'm not going to feed you shit in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to defile you. You are the boss of me. You are the boss of me. and you just show me how to do that. And I think that that's the level of surrender and perfection that our Father in heaven wants for us. The divine masculine wants us to be fully safe and fully self-expressed. Of course he does. He loves us. He's like, look at how wonderful she is. Like, she's fantastic. She's beautiful. She's sexy, whatever. But I don't want to just like nail her. I don't want to see her naked and doing all this weird for what? For what? Nobody gets off on that anymore. And if you do, like, get off that. It's gross and it's boring and it's so passé. Like, it's so not cool
And
anymore. Like, get with the
and
program.
Super
to
boring.
use first of all, is Beyonce still alive? And to use Beyonce, who is like, you know, the high priestess of Satanism, if anyone hadn't noticed that or didn't realize that already, that's just so wrong on so many levels, isn't it? Nuts.
Don't know that. I didn't know that till a few months ago, though. I mean, I didn't know about Oprah. Like, I didn't know that so many of these people that we've been taught to celebrate only because they're in front of us, and only because. Go ahead.
Yeah, but we may not know then, but when we found out, did you not feel like, oh, that's why it felt weird? You know, like, that's why it never really, you know, settled nicely within me. That's why I don't listen to it. That, you know, that's why whenever the music is being played, you know, it feels strange. It feels weird in my within my system. So to me, that was the huge aha. Like, now it makes sense. You know, up until then, we were still totally under the spell. But once the spell was broken, everything just fell into place. Like, why that that frequency of music? Why that those, you know, those films, that sort of like really low depravity type of sexual porn, call it porn, right?
Yeah.
You know, you watch it, and you know, it gets you there. It gets you to wherever you wanted. You felt like you needed to go, but then afterwards, it leaves you feeling so empty. It doesn't fill you up. It actually robs you off of your precious whatever life force, your prana. It leaves you wanting more, right? It's like
Feeling
gorging
abused.
on empty food.
It can leave you feeling abused also in some way as well.
Absolutely.
I reckon we need to get JP Spears on a conversation with us. Like, I can't
Come
get
on,
enough of that.
JP.
Can we do that? Can we do that? I love
If
JP.
you're watching anyone of those, JP, if you're watching, can someone just pull a string and let's get us all together? I would love that.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah, Madonna, empties the word, and you're right, Denby, can lead to feeling abused. I mean, even in a marriage where people are still using each other's vessel for that base chakra orgasm, and forgive yourself, everyone who's listening, because you didn't know any other way. This is what we've been conditioned with. There's nothing wrong with you, absolutely not. But there is another way, and you can explore white tantra and these kind of models. You don't have to necessarily follow it to the letter, but it's worth the exploration, because we are rising. That's what it means to ascend. It's an upward movement of energy. So you're not going to miss out on your orgasms. In fact, your orgasms are going to get more powerful, but they're going to move upwards through the chakras. You're literally blowing your brains out through your base chakra every time. I mean, look, we haven't been taught this, so it's a new way forward. And because of the depravity, and because we're finding out so much about what's going on, I mean, no one's probably wanting to engage much in sexuality at the moment, because everyone feels so, you know, so sick about what's going on.
We're supposed to wear a mask, and we're supposed to like be mutually masturbating wearing masks now in order to have sex.
I mean, you can't make this up, really. You've got to laugh.
You really can't. I mean, seriously, if the government thinks they can tell you how to start having sex like that, I can't understand how people can't go, hang on a minute, that doesn't seem right.
But
just too funny.
I'm going to share a personal story, though, not mine. speaking for a friend. No, but
Sure. We believe you.
I heard about this story, right? Like this actual the brainwashing is that powerful and effective that this guy apparently told this lady that you have to wear a mask because it's he just came from like a trip and he just didn't feel like it would serve her to make love to him if they weren't being they weren't being conscious of doing it without wearing the mask. And of course the woman said that's not gonna happen, and walked off. And so when I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, we don't stand a chance. If this is how the men are showing up, right? Of course we stand a chance, but like what I'm saying is it's intense. It's intense. The brainwashing is really intense. That's why we need to hold space.
I think online dating has just taken a severe left-hander or right-hander, because the question, not like not that you'd ever ask these questions like, what do you do for work, or where do you live and what do you like to do? It's more like, do you wear a mask? What do you like? Do you believe in this crazy pandemic stuff? I mean, just cut straight to the chase and if it's like yes or no, it's like, no, sorry, swipe left, or just keep moving on, or like, I can do it myself. It's really not that much of a problem. Yeah. Where are the men? Where are the women as well? We keep saying where are the men, where are the strong conscious men? It's like we still need more sisters as well. It's not necessarily a male or a female thing. It's where are the humans? Where are the, as you say,
where are the humans indeed? Where are the humans indeed? Yeah. It's dystopian right now, right? So dystopian.
We're coming. No, I feel that the more we develop, the better the men get too. I just feel like this is our era, and the women we're leading. Like I can look at my own relationship and just see the better I get, the better he gets. We just keep up leveling each other, and I do lead in this relationship. Not that men in other relationships don't, but that's just my role in this relationship. But wow, does he hold the space so huge? And we're getting there, and that's the healing process. I think that we're all craving at this point. And so my guidance is like to all of us sisters here, like, not that you need my 2 cents, but just stay in your light. It's you've earned it at this point. Like you don't need to convince anyone or even respond. I just think like silence is bliss at this point. And yeah, nature. We keep talking about nature, but wow, does she heal? She's some potent stuff, man. Especially right now. She is vibing. She's like, get off, you gotta go, you're crazy, I'm done with you. And everybody's like, blah, 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 like getting totally fried as the whole thing crumbles. But some of us are just going up the elevator. It's like, I'm done looking right, I'm done looking left, I'm going straight up to the mountaintop. And that's where I'm going. That's where I'm at, and that's where I want to be. And just, enjoy
and that's
it.
where Mother Earth
I think
is
that's
at.
what
you look at the galactic cycles, you look at the photonic light coming in, you look at the astronomy if you want to get scientific, you look at where the Earth has moved to. It's a new dimension, and of course therefore the divine feminine is absolutely leading. And of course that's the divine feminine within men as well. We all embody both qualities. So yeah, go the men, bring out your divine feminine, be willing to be soft as well as strong. We're learning how to have the two. It's interesting, I was talking about compassion before, because that's always been my way through, very compassionate, very soft. But as you ladies know, I've had the Excalibur sword in my hand since early 2020. So that's a different template for me. And maybe that's what it's about, embodying the opposite qualities of what we've been attached to for so long. What we thought were our strengths, they can remain, but we may need to bring in this balancer now. So yeah, I literally, ladies, you'll laugh, because I've stopped doing asana. I've been shown through my meditation these 3 movements that I do with the sword, and I literally just do sword drills now as my physical movement. I mean, who am I? You got to laugh. And the other day I thought, oh, my glutes are a little bit sore. I'm like, yeah, it's from those sword drills I've been doing. Who am I? I don't know.
It's really awesome you talk about
I
that,
love
Sarah. Because this is all new to us, right? Like you said, this is a new template, and for me, I'm just really like, oh my God, you know, because my kids who does not agree with where I'm at, we've all decided it's best for us to block one another. So I think up until that point, I was still holding back. But when the moment I knew that my kids weren't following me anymore on social media, it felt like I really unleashed, you know, like completely, like you know, there's no more holding back for me now. So even as I go through it, I'm like, this is new territory. I'm really just finding out certain aspects of me that I never knew was there before. So it's really exciting. And yeah, from also using the practice of yoga to ground me down, because otherwise, you know, without that grounding capacity, I could very well just, you know, lift off and shoot up and never come back. Right? But yeah, so again, very thankful for my yoga practice, that it allows me to go full on, and yet, you know, have that humility to say that, okay, Madonna, you know, you can, like, you know, come back from the astral place now and ground here, and you know, just be balanced about it. So yeah, it's exciting times, ladies. And for me also, talking to people like you of high frequency consciousness is a must. It's a must, because nothing gets me more excited than knowing that I'm going to be talking to awakened people. Because right now, when I'm out there in the midst of a sea of mask holes, it just really depletes me, and I'm in a state of denial, that am I really living in this dystopia? I'm in a state of like this rage that this is so unfair, like I wish this would just stop. And also a state of you poor people, like I really wanna like just rip those masks off of your face. So it's so draining for us, right? That's why I hardly go out, and I just stay in my own space and play mantras and do yoga and do my digital digital warriorship in the sanctity of my own space. But then this is very, very, very required for me to connect with like-minded people and same frequency people, and share all this. Have you noticed that, you know, none of us want to stop talking and sharing, because we just really we feel like we're being heard. We feel like we're in such a safe space, and we're not being judged, we're not being attacked, you know. This just so nice, loving, uplifting vibe, and it's necessary.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you guys. I love it when we get together. It's such a nurturing, heartwarming moment and space to be in. So yeah, exactly, Madonna. I can't really add to that. It's exactly what I'm feeling, and I know we're all feeling that too. Is just to be held by our tribe, and then we just build that and keep holding the light, and, you know, sharing our stuff and trying to process as best as we can. And every day is a new day. We just keep moving forwards as best as we can. So yeah, thank you, beauties. It's been awesome to talk to you guys and to share. We could talk for days.
Absolutely. And we are so blessed. Really, there are so many of us going through it this time. You know, I always pay reverence for those enlightened masters who went through on their own and who were attacked for doing so, and didn't really have much of a tribe around them. So we have the opportunity now, with this great awakening, with this golden age, for us to move through en masse. So yeah, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Wow,
Truly,
guys.
truly.
I just want to say, you know, that we're the majority. I just want to say that we're the majority now.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Woohoo! Amen.
Yeah. Majority. I mean, in heaven we'll all know the truth, and in heaven we'll all know the truth, and that's what we're doing. You know, Carrie, I have to tell you, I know I've mentioned on something in FB that I saw you with your sword, and I saw all of us actually as like you were leading this, like we were in war and you had a sword and we were going after some bad guys, and like I was a few people back, but I saw you and you were the leader and you were like, rah! like really going for it. And I was like, oh my God, I love her. This is why I'm enrolled in this crazy ass war. Like, you know, but this is what this is. We're leading people, you know, to the promised land, to the light. And at this point, it's like we're at the front of it. Like stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. And that's why I'm saying we're the majority. Madonna, we have conversations. When you see the people wearing the masks, smile and love them. They'll sort it out. They will. But you stay bright. Like don't let them bum you out. Like at this point, it's like, yeah, I just want to stay in this and hold this as my reality and as our reality, as our inheritance is that. And I know that it's a little bit easier. You know, I don't want to make myself special, but it is a little bit easier in this beautiful paradise. But I still think that it's possible for all of us to tap that, no matter where we are. Tap the light. And every time you go into your meditation or your practice or whatever it looks like for you, like ask for guidance. I think that's what a lot of us are missing, is like really ask, because you will receive. Ask and you shall receive. Like that's how it works. Very simple. Ask.
Yeah, the paradise is within. It's in here.
So true, really, so true.
Really. And all drugs and all this bullshit, like get it, it's like not yours anymore. You pull in your light energy, pull all your energy back now. You've put out so much. I really feel like today, especially, it was like, now it's time for us to lay back. Trust the men at this point, like trust the dudes, trust the plan, trust Q. They're going at it full force right now. And again, that movie 107, because it's just, has anyone here seen it yet?
Yes, yeah.
I haven't.
I'm still.
I mean, like, wow.
Tell me about the peaches. Tell me about the peaches.
I don't get the peaches.
It's a big com, isn't it? Because the peaches kept turning up. So everyone, if anyone knows about the peaches, tell us. There's something there.
Tell us. And people here in the chat have been just giving us so much love, you guys. I just want to say that thank you all for being love. I love you, woman. Drink coconut water. Love, love, love. There's just like love and hearts everywhere in the chat right now. Really sweet.
I really want to say thank you to all of those beautiful people who are being brought into my orbit, being drawn to my my wall, commenting and supporting and sharing and just, you know, holding up the space for me. I can't do this without you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love you.
Let's just talk to each other.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to anybody else right now.
I love you guys. Mwah. Thank you.
Bye.
Love you all.
All right.
Love you. Love you.
Love you.
Real. Namaste. Namaste. I'm just gonna see how do I do this? If I end it all, it might end it all. Oh, I did it. Okay. Are we good? You guys want to go? Are you done? I think I stopped it on YouTube. That should be it.
I'm getting live on YouTube.
Love you, Madonna.
Live on YouTube.
All right.
This is when we keep talking and we just listen.
It says live on YouTube. Do you want me to check?
It just flows, right? That doesn't feel like an hour and 15 minutes at all. My God.
That's crazy.
Okay, friends. I guess this is stopping the live stream now. We love you.